So today we have a very special guest. As you can see, we have Janay.
Hey.
And Janay has been the talk of YouTube for some time now. And she's just going to, have an open conversation. We're going to talk about some things and just, clear the air on a couple things and see what Janay has going on now. But before we can get started, I know my audience, I cover YouTubers and I also cover regular celeb news. So just to introduce herself to my audience for people who don't necessarily know exactly who Janay is, Janay just kind of give a brief, introduction.
Girl, I have never done that before. I'm so used to everybody telling what I do and who I am. I don't know. Oh my God. Hey, I'm Janay. And I would like to say a YouTube strategist. That's what I consider myself. This manager title, I don't know where it came from. It just kind of stuck. But a YouTube strategist that pretty much helps channels build their channels, either where they are or from the ground up type stuff.
Okay, well, that's like an awesome summary because every time you get introduced as a manager, people are like, wait, YouTubers need a manager? Why do they have a manager? What does she do? Da-da-da-da. So that's like very self-explanatory when you say it in that way and you're saying, hey, I'm a YouTube strategist and I help channels strategize to,
Right. Yeah, I don't know who started the management thing. I just kind of went with it because when you try to explain to kids, like, I'm a YouTube strategist, they're like, what? No, this is my manager. It's just easier to say my manager, and I just kind of went with it. But I wish I had to stop that earlier.
Okay. Hey guys, okay, as you can see, I will be interviewing Janay, and that is a brief summary of who she is, but I wanted to pause the video to give you guys a little bit more of an in-depth description as to who Janay is. Janay is a manager, YouTube strategist, and she has strategized with some of the biggest YouTubers on this platform that have like couples channels. She's worked with Chris and Queen, Ari, who is her daughter, DMB Nation, Nique and King, Carmen and Corey, and a host of other YouTubers. And she's brought their channels from a low number to a very high number. And what it entailed was doing these staged pranks. If you are on YouTube, you know the pranks are fake. But for a long time, they had a lot of people going and a lot of people fooled that a lot of these situations and a lot of the pranks were real. A lot of people brought into the storylines and, they rode the wave and it helped grow a lot of channels. Janay is the person who is behind coming up with these concepts, these strategies of these pranks, and aligning these YouTubers with other YouTubers and having them collab with other collaborators. And ultimately that helped build their channels. From her working with these YouTubers, some situations, well, a lot of the situations ended very badly. And, there was accusations that she scammed people out of their money. There was accusations that, she wasn't genuine. There were a lot of allegations that discredited her as a manager, defamed her character, and there was a lot of people who wanted to come from under her and do their own thing and part ways, and it ended badly in a lot of the cases. Janay is now speaking out and wants to clear her name, and I'm sitting down talking to her to talk about what happened, how did it start, and here are a couple of questions that will come up in this interview. But I want you to speak to the situation because the situation caused you to have a bad reputation because people started to say that you were scamming them out of money. They said that you locked them out of their channel and you were trying to take over their channel and do them dirty. I just want you to speak to that situation and clear the air about that from your point of view. Did you lock them out? What happened? You just told them took the money? Like, what was it? Okay. And in your interview that I seen with Zoe, you made mention that Nique and Carmen were fighting while she was pregnant.
Yeah, that was no secret. Somebody else had dropped that on their channel. That's what I was like, why everybody said I told too much?
Can you elaborate on that situation for some of us who didn't know?
I was trying to break them up, and I thought I had hurt Nique because I fell, and when I fell trying to keep them apart, I fell back on Nique.
Okay, so someone said, why did she tell all those lies on the Taylor girls and had the house turn on them? Was it because she felt threatened that they were too smart for her to manipulate? All right, so now that we see what's coming up, now let's grab our popcorn and get on into this interview. Starts off a little slow, but it picks up. So get your popcorn ready and let's jump into this tea right now. Okay, so how did you get started? Like, who was your first clients as a YouTube strategist?
Damien and Bianca, DNB Nation. I started with DNB Nation back in, I think we've gone into 3 years now, like 2017, I believe. And I started working with them. Damien and Bianca at that point had a couple of viral videos and stuff, and we all were in the same area. Damien and them are from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I was living in Fort Wayne because I was the radio personality there, and I had a daycare and I had a restaurant at the time. And so me and Damien had crossed paths prior to them kicking off their couples channel. He was doing like sports or something like that online, and they kept taking his channel because, the NBA don't allow you to, use their content. But he had got it up to like 25,000, but he was a manager at Little Caesars, and he was like, he not making any money off of it. So I was like, that's real good. He was like, I'm not making any money off of it. And I was like, we should do endorsements or whatever. I was like, advertisers would pay to be on something that big. And he was like, we talked about it a little bit more. And the way I knew about that was because as a radio personality, we would have endorsements. But never did I know about the ads on YouTube. And so that was at the hospital. Him and Bianca came to see me when I had my son, when I had Kaden. So they came to the hospital to see me. And then long story short, they started and it took off. And me and Damien crossed paths when Bianca was having Kyrie, and when she had Kyrie, he was like, I was trying to buy the radio station in Fort Wayne, and I was 60,000 short, and he was like, so what you up to? And I was like, yes, I was like, I'm trying to buy the radio station, I'm looking for an investor for 60,000, and he was like, come holler at me tomorrow. I said, boy,
like, what you talking about?
Yeah, I said, he said, for real, come holler at me tomorrow. I said, okay. So when I went over there, I'll never forget, there was an apartment, it was a condo actually. It was Amazon boxes everywhere. The Curve TV had just came out. It was on the wall. And I was like, I said, boy, don't have me over here. Y'all selling drugs.
Right. Yeah, no scams or nothing going on.
Right. And so he was like, no. And then that's how it started. And he was like, he needed somebody to help him with the business side of it. And that's how I got started with it. And then it kind of took a life of its own from there. I know that was a long version of it.
No, that was good because I didn't even know the in-depth of all of that. So you started out with Damien Bianca, and for those of you who watch YouTube, you know that they are a very popular couples channel, and now they have grown into being like a family channel. They started out with reactions and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Okay. And so through them becoming this couples channel, they did these very elaborate pranks, these elaborate, staged events or whatever. And fast forward, we're just going to gloss over that and fast forward to DMB University, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you were a part of DMB University, right?
DMB University, one of the reasons why Damien, when he says that I took this large amount of money from him, that is part of where he gets that amount from, is from DMB University. DMB University was an idea I had that I think was too big for where he was mentally at that time. He was so knowledgeable in this area. I felt like, hey, like, why won't you show other people how to win, like you? And he's a real big fan of Eric Thomas. And he was kind of telling me about Eric Thomas. So I'm watching Eric Thomas, and I saw Eric Thomas had a whole school. And I was like, this is what you should do. So we had went through the process of planning it out and that, setting it up so that way he could do it. Long story short, it kind of took a life of its own, and I'm not going to blame Damien. I'm going to blame the company that we bought the system from, because they were so, I guess, greedy, looking at his audience and stuff, and they wanted to make the money instantly, and but that system itself cost $40,000.
Okay, so from my knowledge, it was a thing where, and just to break it down to my audience as well, basically DMB University, like you said, you wanted to come together and teach other people how to do YouTube, right? And so it was a university to teach fellow up-and-coming YouTubers how to get to the level of success that Damien and Bianca were, and you were going to use them as kind of the, the face and the proof of concept channel.
Right.
or whatever, okay? And then so basically from there, you guys teamed up with a company. And what did the company do exactly?
The company is responsible for a lot of major influencers, not in this space, but like your Les Browns, the Grant Cardones. They build their system, where their training system. So if you were to purchase their program, it's an interactive platform where it, like for instance, if you were in a class and you're trying to learn about SEO, the way that the software worked is that it'd be like, hey, Nique, are you ready to, learn how to do SEO?
And then I respond, and then it's responsive, interactive like that. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be like, all right, Nique, let's go. And then it'll walk you through and be like, no, Nique, that's not how you do, So at that time, 3 years ago, that was crazy. Like even to this day, nobody in the YouTube space is using that. And so only person that has tried that, I think, is Jake Paul. But I was like, it would be a good thing, and especially not trying to make it a racial thing, but especially for us. DMB was winning when I got with them, and I wanted them to share it with Avon, DC Squad, Airy. That was the original first group. That was the very original first group. And so the plan was to build them up. But Damien had a bad experience of people that he had been helping was screwing them over, and he just was like, no, I'm not about to pour into nobody else like that no more, because people don't appreciate it. And I kept pushing. And finally he gave in. So then we tried it, but then they wasn't showing up like they were supposed to. So then that's when you got the other channels that came up.
Okay. So how did, so you guys wanted to collaborate, and then you were doing this DMB University, and at some point it failed, right? Or it did not work. And then there was a claim of him saying that you took money from him or something like that, or
so the university itself, the reason why it didn't work is because it was never finished filming. Like, I was the one that had cultivated, written out the program, and all Damien and Bianca had to do was to basically
show up.
Voice it over. Yeah, but the thing of it is, they're hard workers. I can't take that from them. But the problem is that it's a difference in sitting in front of a camera when it's just you and Bianca versus a whole production team telling you go. And so they weren't able to deliver on it. So then it went from them doing it to me recording it. And so I don't know what happened, the reason why Damien didn't follow through. I think maybe he stopped believing in it. I don't know. But whatever reason was, he stopped basically funding it. But the system...
Because people were signing up for it and everything, right? Because there was like people who signed up, and there was money being put into it. And then you said basically he stopped showing up. So where did he come up with that you had took some type of money from him?
That $40,000 for that, and then when we were going out to Vegas, he was paying for flights and stuff. That came up. But jumping forward off of the university thing, now one thing about that before we go to something else is that he did refund all that money back. That was something that really bothered him, that whole scamming thing, because of the fact he was like, I got money, I'm not taking no money from nobody. And that was during the time that everybody was coming at Chris and Queen. So he was like, I don't even want that title. So at that point, he was done with it. So that's when he refunded all the money back. And so, but it was at that point, people were saying it was a scam. So jumping forward, we remember at the beginning, we were doing this DMB family thing. And so
you guys had like a reality home where it was a reality house, right? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was like...
That was later. Okay.
Yeah, the DMB family was DC Squad, Chanel and David, and Avon and Airy, and what the plan was for them to cross collab and do videos and stuff to build up their channels. And so at that time, I had started researching. That's when I had got obsessed with YouTube. I started researching it, and back then you could start an MCN up under another MCN. Like, you were able to get a license from like Full Screen, and then if Full Screen wanted to have another division, I can get a license up under them. So we start looking into that, because I was like, it doesn't make sense to sign with a network when we can become the network. And so again, I think this stuff was before, the maturity level hit there. Long story short, a year and a half later, once we did the first house, it was the second house. Once we did the second house, we realized how big everything went. And so now Damien was back into wanting to buy into the MCN, because I was like, at this point, I'm just going to do it on my own. And so that's where that came in. It was him and it was Chris. It was Chris I had propositioned about buying it, and it was Damien because I needed the other half. Chris decided to get his I-8, And so he was like, I gotta wait till the next pay period. I'm like, I gotta make a move now. Damien decided to come in, but right before we got to finalize everything, he put the money in so that way we can get the software. And the software, since you do YouTube, in order to run a successful MCN, you have to have a CMS system, the content ID. You have to have a content ID in order for you to be able to make
I know people who are looking at this who don't do YouTube are kind of confused, but I'm going to just try to... Okay, so basically an MCN, because I know there's probably somebody who's like, well, what's an MCN and what's a this and this and that? So there are some people who have these networks on YouTube where it's kind of like a management network, right? Am I saying that right?
It's a multimedia, yeah.
Okay, and then so you have these YouTubers and you help them brand themselves to branding deals, and you help them manage their YouTube career, and you get a percentage of it, but it's all done through the MCN, right?
Right. So that way, when with the system, with the content ID system, instead of you having your own Google AdSense, your payments will come through the MCN's AdSense. Okay,
so the YouTuber who you're managing, instead of the money going to their account, it comes to you, who is the MCN, and then you distribute their money. Is that how it works?
Right, but you have to have the software. And so that's the biggest expense with it. And so that's where me and Damien kind of was still negotiating, and then we came to an agreement because Chris backed out. So then Damien decided to come in. But then at that point, Chris and Armando was like, we're not trying to be signed up under Damien. We don't want him looking at, our stuff. Long story short, I've never said this before, what happened, and I don't even think Damien know why I pulled back, but what happened with us, the reason why our whole relationship partnership went down was because of the fact Live Raise. Back in the day, Live Raise was this company where they would pay you to go live. And so Damien and Bianca was doing it, and they was making good money doing it. But long story short, when they did the breakup thing, they couldn't go live. So the guy got mad, whatever. But Damien gave them back the money that they had given them. So long story short, I'm telling you that to say that relationship I thought was, done with. So one day Damien's like, hey, meet me at the Cheesecake Factory. And I'm like, all right. So I get up there, and the owner of Live Raise is there. And I'm like,
what's going on here?
Yeah. I'm like, hey, and so he was like, talking to me about, he just found out that we're building out our MCN, how he wanted to bring brand deals to us and all the other stuff, because he was very well connected. And one of the companies he was connected with was a real big company. So I'm like, all right, I'm listening, but I'm trying to understand, how did you get him back to the table when he was mad at you? And, I'm trying to understand.
When their situation had went bad.
Yeah. So I don't know what I said, but something I said kind of rubbed Damien the wrong way. So he was like, let me talk to you for a minute. So we went in the back and we were talking, and he was like, just relax, like this guy gonna help us, because I'm
And what was the guy helping you guys with, the MCN?
No, he was helping us with the brand deals. He was going to be the company that was going to bring in the brand deals for the clients that was up under it. Okay. But I'm like, this don't make sense, because he's the Live Raise guy. So why would you want to partner with us when you already got these? His biggest person was CJ Saku. Why is you sitting here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't even make sense to me. Long story short, it was probably about a week later, the guy hit me up, and I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but he was like, hey, I was trying to see if you and Damien came to a decision. And I was like, a decision about what? And he was like, Damien is buying the company, and I wanted to know how you guys was going to move forward.
So he was buying, Damien was said to buy your company that you were?
He was setting up to buy Live Raise.
Oh, the guy's company. Okay.
Yes, but Chris and them didn't want to be any parts of Live Raise neither, because Live Raise didn't do them right. So what was happening was, he was basically about to buy Live Raise, not telling me that he was buying Live Raise. And because of the relationship I had with that group, he knew if I told them to go over to Live Raise, they would go. So when they would come over, not only would he be eating from the percentage of the MCN, if I went with that, he'll be eating from the Live Raise thing as well. And I was just like, that's just dirty. Like, real, like, but at the end of the day, I guess that's business. And I at that point, I was done. So I started pulling back. And as I started pulling back, he started noticing it. And then his new management, Floyd wanted to manage Damien before I got in the picture. But Damien went with me. And so I kind of brought Floyd back in the picture, like, you know, like I'm about to, you know, go a separate ways, because my spiritual mother, my first lady, is real cool with his old manager's family and stuff. So I'm like, basically, I'm trying to transition out of the situation. So I'm telling Floyd, like, hey, like, I think you can be better for him. You a guy, da da da. I thought that was a good transition plan, and it wouldn't.
Okay, so basically you guys ended on bad terms. And then he started getting accused of scamming people, and then he threw the fire on you, or how did that go?
What everything started popping off again with us is when I started working with JQC. When I started working with Corey, as you can see, the drama that's playing out today, Corey showed that text message of that Instagram message when Damien said, "Yeah, I've been watching y'all, I've been subscribed, da da da." Back early, Damien had told me about Corey and Carmen, but I didn't, you know, he was like, you know, yeah, this guy, he's so cocky. He like, yeah, I know you watching, and this, that, and other. We're going to be up there with you one day. This is what Corey is saying to Damien. And Damien laughing, like, as he reading it, he was like, what you think? I was like, he sound like you. Y'all both arrogant or whatever. So I was like, I said, but he sound like he, you know, he got that drive. So that was the end of that. So now me and Damien not working together. So now Corey comes in with Nique and King. The connection with JQC and me, King was with Funny Mike at the house when I was working with Armand and them. So King somehow got my number from somebody, called me, and we started working. We worked that weekend. Everybody's number shot up. And so they was like, you know, would you work with us? And I'm just like, no. I'm like, that last group didn't end right. No. Just take this. Going about your business, because Ari was scheduled to go move with Queen to New York, or I think I was getting an apartment in Houston, or was it New York? New York. So they were supposed to be moving to go to New York, and so long story short, I asked Ari. I said, once I decided I was gonna run with JQC, I asked Ari, this is where the 30 days came from. I said, give me 30 days. If it don't work, then you go up there with her. And then as we started working, it just started taking a life of its own. But bringing it back to what your question was, when Damien saw that the numbers was running, because Corey didn't want to mess with me either, and I didn't want to mess with him. He came to see Damien and Bianca, but they went out of town on him. And so that was a whole nother issue. So now I'm working with this group, and I got Corey constantly talking to Damien. And, you know, and so everything we're doing is going back to Damien. So Damien felt some kind of way. Damien felt like I took Corey and them from him because he was the first one that found him. And I'm like, why didn't you work with him then? He was coming to see you. How did he end up, you know, with me type stuff?
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So moving on from that, you just were mentioning Queen and Ari going to New York, and then that didn't work out because you wanted to let her know that she can basically be successful with the new team that you were forming. Do you feel that she was the association with Queen? Do you feel like it ever like put her kind of in the shadow in some way, as people claimed at all?
No, because one of the things that I think was brilliant on Ari and Queen's relationship is that they didn't play their relationship out on social media. Like some moments came out, but when they were together, sometimes people didn't even know that they was together. So their relationship was organic. It wasn't until everybody else started getting into it, like when Nique and King pulled that move and told Queen that I had told them that Ari couldn't go because she was in her shadows and all this other stuff. That's when Ari and Queen's relationship started
to fizzle out. Yeah, because I kept seeing a lot of comments about her supposedly in her shadow and things like that, and I was just kind of wondering.
It's common sense, because first of all, Ari and Queen are in two different spaces. First of all, even the type of music, like Queen is a singer, like she has always wanted to be a singer. Ari has always played around with singing. This was not on her list, like, oh yeah, I want to be Beyonce type. It was the Beyonce thing for a minute, where she was little, but it was never like, oh, I want to be a singer type thing or whatever. That was Queen's dream. That's what she wanted. And so it would be foolish of me to just start playing basketball to be looking at Jordan like, oh, I'm always in his shadow. No, Jordan is Jordan. Queen is Queen. Like, in her lane, she wins in her lane. Like, and then you got to understand, every black female ain't jealous of the other one. Everybody,
right. A lot of people try to pin them against each other for sure, and try to make Ari out to be the jealous one. But I think most of that was just colorism. A lot of people feel like, you know, if the girl is light skinned and the other girl is dark skinned, they feel like, oh, the dark skinned girl got to be jealous of the light skinned, because society has this Willie Lynch syndrome where they make dark skinned people out to be some type of lesser than, which is false. And just because a person is light skinned, the other one dark skinned, you know, don't mean that one is better than the other, but society will put those labels, or, you know, put that narrative out there and people buy into it. So, you know, I never looked at it as though she would be jealous of her, because I don't feel like even if Queen could sing, I don't see what she has to be jealous of. She's her own individual as well. But I'm gonna move off of that, and then I'm gonna just go touch on, because I'm just kind of just breezing through some of these situations, just getting your input. I don't want to hold you up too long.
No, you're okay.
I want to talk about, okay, so I'm going to just break down a couple things that we kind of didn't, or shape some of this stuff. So basically, to my audience and those of you who are looking, Janay, she had these teams. She started off with DMB Nation, and it was DMB and a couple other YouTubers, including her daughter, and they had this house. Then she transitioned because that situation didn't work out. Then she got another team of young YouTubers that worked and collaborated together, and that was Ari, Nique and King, Carmen and Corey. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
And am I missing somebody out?
It's the Chris and Trey.
Okay, yeah, okay. So from that situation, she aligned herself with this new team, and with this new team, I watched the progress grow, and it seemed a very rapid rate. So she got these YouTubers who had smaller followings. They were under, I want to say, 100K, right? All of them.
Chris and Trey came in at 20,000, and Ari and Nique and King and Corey and Carmen was like at 220.
Oh, okay. So they had more than I thought. I thought they had less than that. But so basically she came in, she started working with them, and from them collaborating with one another, it helped strengthen all of their audiences overall. They did pranks. YouTube strategized, and you gave them strategy on how to win and how to blow their channels up. So their channels grew rapidly, and once their channels grew rapidly, and you got a commission or it was
a percentage.
A percentage, okay.
20%.
So you got a percentage as a manager, strategist, or whatever for helping build and shape their channels. And as their channels blew, the money increased, right? And they wanted to jump ship at some point.
Right.
And from my knowledge, from looking at it, I always looked at it as a situation to where they got in the game, they learned the game, and hey, you already taught me how to do this. Why do I need to pay you to do something that you taught me? And they jumped ship. That was my outside looking in perspective. But I want you to speak to the situation, because the situation caused you to have a bad reputation, because people started to say that you were scamming them out of money. They said that you locked them out of their channel, and you were trying to take over their channel and do them dirty. I just want you to speak to that situation and clear the air about that from your point of view. Did you lock them out? What happened? You just told them, took the money? Like, what was it?
First and most importantly, there was no money stolen. There was no channel that was locked out. What was put in place is the same thing that MCNs do. See, remember at the beginning I was telling you, when you sign with a network, they have access to your channel. So if you ever decide to leave, ABC network, ABC is like, okay, listen, we got a 3-year agreement. But if you leave, know that I'm going to recoup what I believe that I would have made over those 3 years. And so what networks do, if you're not as big, and at the time, Nique and King and them wasn't as big, and they were the only ones that were signed to a network. At that time, they wasn't that big, so I knew that Studio 71 wouldn't pursue them. So I had our attorney draft up a letter, and we got them out their agreement. So when they unlinked from Studio 71 kept the last part of their check. basically saying like, okay, well, y'all owe us, but y'all gonna leave, we gonna take this. And it totaled to 21,000. And the reason why MCNs have access is because they know that certain people will do what they did. You'll get to where you think you don't need me no more, and then you'll try and leave. So to protect the entity, what they do is they like, nah, we're gonna have access of your channel via YouTube system, so that way we can guarantee that we get paid for the services that we provide.
Yeah, you can't just jump ship and
so since I did not get the approval yet from YouTube, I had to improvise, because remember, I didn't want to do this anymore. So I had to improvise, and the way that I improvised was, okay, I don't want passcodes because that can get messy. Two-step verification, that means that you can't move without me knowing, and I can't move without you knowing. And so that's why we put the two-step verification. But the two-step verification, at the meeting, I explained to him, that was not something that I want to do right now. But the moment that I feel like y'all moving on some other stuff, that's when I'm going to go ahead and enforce the two-step verification. Because per my contract, I was supposed to be paying them.
Mm-hmm. Like, and they weren't supposed to. Okay, so basically you are running it as a MCM, but you didn't properly collect the funds like you were supposed to and distribute it to them. They were getting paid and then paying you.
Right, and okay. that was the fatal mistake that I made, because of the fact it's easy to pay somebody, like I said, 20% of 8,000. When you get into 30,000, because that's the magic number. When everybody hit that 30,000, that's when everybody act up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically you're saying that you didn't lock them out, and so what was it that they were talking about they couldn't get into their channel? You implemented the two-step verification as a warning, or what was that?
No, the two-step verification had been on for a good 4 or 5 months because of a prior situation that happened with Corey and Carmen, and after that happened with Corey and Carmen, Nique and King did something. I don't know how it got to Nique and King, but it got to the point everybody had two-step verification. Even Ariana had two-step verification on her stuff, because I didn't want people to be like, oh, well, you got it on ours and not hers. I tried my best with this group to not make the same mistake that I made with the last group. The first group, because people keep thinking it was only 2 groups, it was 4. Mm-hmm. It was 4. We did 4 houses, 4 reality houses. It was 4 groups. The first group was Kristen Queen, Damian Bianca, and Flight, and Ari. That was a whole different group. That group was the ones that had my heart. Those were the ones that that really can say she acted like a mother to me when they be saying that, because that really was the relationship with that first group. When JQC started saying that I was, acting like a mom and all that other stuff, it was nowhere near
the love that you gave to the first group.
Yeah, that first group was my heart. That first group, that was my heart. JQC, I loved them at a different type of way, but I was way more guarded with them, than I was with the first group. And so, girl, I forgot what the question was.
We were talking about Nique and King and you locking them out of the two-step verification, and then you were basically saying how you had implemented it, and then you went on to say, how they started making comments of you being a mother figure.
Oh, okay. Well, with the situation with the two-step verification, it was just to protect me and to make sure that because I put in a lot of work with this group. Now, the first group, it was kind of like, they was already popping. I just put together some more solid things to make it go. And, I was hands-on, but not as hands-on as I was with these last 3. And so this time I wanted to make sure I got what I was entitled, to or whatever. And so that's what two-step verification. But ain't nobody locked them kids out there. They are not kids. Ain't nobody locked them grown Negroes out their account. Ain't nobody took nothing from them. And so when King did his little Instagram thing yesterday coming at Corey, because Corey had finally said, like, yeah, she's nothing like what they said. And, Corey says some reckless stuff. And he, but that's the reason why, if you remember when all that stuff popped off, how they was like, she came to the house and all that other stuff. Because I knew what move was being made because of the fact, if you have Carmen and Corey, they're the biggest channel. So if you get them, you can get everybody else to follow, because people follow vanity. They don't follow logic. They follow numbers. And so that's what that's what the play that Nique and King made. And Nique and King in their video, they were saying that I said, oh, well, their channel was going to fail and this is that and other. No, what I did tell them is that because their channel was built around people, it will not survive unless they keep it going. And I was right, because that's what they're doing now.
Yeah. Okay. And so as a result of that situation, they did not want to pay you what was owed, if I'm not mistaken. And you told them that you'd take them to court. Okay. And so what happened with the whole court lawsuit where you paid your money? How did that situation resolve itself?
So that situation is still in the works. Like Nique and King and Ken and Dre and Nique and King, Ken and Dre, the other one, I'm not going to say that name, but the other one and 3 other people, they think that it's a rap because they basically, when they were served, because they moved. And so when they moved, I sent everything to Corey's house. So Corey just signed for his and Carmen's. But since they didn't sign for theirs, it was like, basically they couldn't be served. So at that point, I was willing to settle. But because they didn't sign that, I had to take it to a federal court because of the amount. So they haven't seen,
Are you able to say the amount that you are suing them for? No. Okay.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, so it's still an ongoing thing. I thought that it was dropped or something. No,
everybody kept saying that. Now, what I will
I thought that's what you said. I thought she was like, I dropped it and I wasn't pursuing it no more.
No. And then when I did the interview with Zoe, I was saying that, my grudge and my attitude towards them, like, I didn't have that no more because of the fact it was like, when I saw the baby, when I saw them, it was just like, dang, I did love these big-headed kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it was like, instantly, it was like, it's like when family fall out and y'all get together at the reunion, it's like, I still don't mess with you, but why you do this? And then when you start talking, it's like, why, like, dang, that's what we fell out about type situation. But then we still had to handle business. And one thing I will have to say about Corey is that he's not dodging that he owes me. What we're going back and forth about is how much. Okay. And he's apologizing and everything. Now, Corey's and Carmen's situation, I will say their situation is handled. Okay. We came to, we good.
So everybody, you guys came to a mutual agreement as to what is owed, but you still are seeking money from Nique and King.
Oh, baby.
Okay.
Yeah. And not only them, everybody else. So I hope everybody enjoying their lifestyles. But yes, ma'am. Because that move was unnecessary. Even if you wanted to go and you was willing to breach the contract, do that. But that video and the way y'all went about it, no. That's the only group I know for a fact. It will never be let's sit down, let's kick it, let's talk.
Okay. And in your interview that I seen with Zoe, you made mention that Nique and Carmen were fighting while she was pregnant.
Yeah, that was no secret. Somebody else had dropped that on their channel. That's what I was like, why everybody said I told too much? Everybody else had already known that situation. So I'm like,
can you elaborate on that situation for some of us who didn't know?
It was a meeting. We had these family meetings, and I don't know what this family meeting was about, but during this family meeting or whatever, it was always something with Carmen and Corey and Nique and King. It was always some type of issue with them.
They had tension.
Yes, serious tension. So, I don't know what happened at this particular meeting, but somehow it was King and Corey who were arguing. And King kind of just stopped talking or whatever. He was just sitting over there, and you could tell he was mad. And Corey was saying stuff a little bit back and forth. And next thing you know, Nique started getting vocal with Corey. She was just real disrespectful, calling them names and stuff or whatever. Corey, like, I ain't about to argue with you, because you're a girl type stuff. Yeah. I don't know what she said, but when she said something, and Carmen was just at her. And then Nique got up, and that's when it went, because I was trying to break them up, and I thought I had hurt Nique because I fell, and when I fell trying to keep them apart, I fell back on Nique. So, yeah, that was one time.
Also, it happened multiple times that they got into was this like a physical go blow for blow type of fight?
Yeah, somebody connected, but it wasn't like they was able to, because everybody was they was pregnant. Everybody was trying to
it wasn't something that they could really
Yeah, because when nobody gonna let them really fight. But I know somebody said this in a video. I don't know who it was about the lamp being thrown, because it was Joelle and Lauren that their baby was in the car seat sitting like at that angle, I guess. And so when I think Carmen threw the lamp to hit Nique. And so when she threw the lamp, it went that direction. And so that's when Joelle started yelling like, hey, y'all had to calm down. Like, y'all almost hit my baby. But he, riled up. So now I'm trying to calm him down. King then took Nique and all this other stuff. And so when King took Nique, now everybody kind of leaving, and Nique is still kind of hyped. Like, I remember her words, why would you give my end his one? I was like, what does that mean?
I don't even know what that means. Does that mean like his one-on-one? Like his one-on-one phase?
But I was like, what? She said, give my end his one. Why you gonna give his... And I was like, what? And then all of a sudden, her and King was in the hallway. Eric was on the far end. And Nique and King instantly, I think it was Nique that came at me. She was like, Janay,
and nobody was rolling cameras as much as people be vlogging.
You know what? No, girl, if it was real cameras going down, everybody would have went viral. It was just, that was my fault. If I had allowed them to self-destruct, they would have. But I tried.
They didn't have no business doing that though while they was pregnant. But it's entertaining to listen to.
Yeah. But when that situation popped off or whatever, so Nique and King is in a hallway, and after they going off on them, all of a sudden Nique is like, and Janay, it's your effing fault because we didn't even want to be in this meeting. And Ari was over in the corner, and then King kind of like jumped behind Nique, was saying something, and Ari was like, y'all ain't gonna be yelling at her. Like, she just started yelling, and I'm looking at her because I'm like, I've never seen my kid like, you know, like, what I'm
act
saying?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, so everybody got quiet, and then everybody would take separate ways. So that's how come I was surprised when everybody be talking about Ari ain't got the same energy. I'm like, nah, y'all know what it is. Ari ain't around here ducking and scared of folks. It's just simply, you gotta, you pick your battles. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, that wasn't her battle.
Yeah, it's like.
Okay, so off of that was entertaining. But okay, so I asked some of my subs what are some questions that they wanted to ask you. And someone wanted to know, why did you wait so long to defend yourself? And then they said nobody believes her because she never came out and spoke with receipts. I think you did come out with a receipt video. But
yeah.
Maybe they missed that saga, but I guess to the first question, why did you wait so long to defend yourself? Because you did wait a little bit. Like when they were making all the videos, I think Carmen and Corey had made a video, or they had went live or something, and then Nique and King made a video, right?
Yeah. I responded to Nique and King's, and I think that only sat for maybe a week. I responded to Nique and King stuff. What everybody probably is referring to is, why haven't I addressed everything that has been said about me, and why am I doing it now? I'm doing it now because I'm in a different space. My clientele is a different type of clientele. And before it was like, who cares what y'all saying? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really, the people that's quote unquote mad and look at me a certain way, they not trying to work with me. They just, in the pews talking. So it didn't matter. But when I started crossing over into this other lane, and this became a conversation and it became a weapon that my competition was using against me, to, try and get some of my clients, was like, oh, look at what she, And so it was like, wait a minute, this starting to look bad, type stuff. And then in my mind, even though I see it in the comments, people like, she too old to be this, that, and the other. And at first I was like, I agree. That's why if you ever look at all the groups I was with, I try to stay out the camera. Because I'm like, I'm a senior citizen. Like, ain't nobody trying to see
You is nobody's senior citizen, but you are older than, older than them, but you ain't no senior citizen, though.
All of them can be my kids. And so my thing was, nobody wants to see me. They want to see them. So I stayed out the way. But it was like video after video. Girl, this is a 3-year saga that folks still was dropping videos. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. I'm not even in the way. I'm not even doing anything. So why is it that I'm a constant conversation? So y'all want to talk? Let's talk.
I heard that.
So that's kind of where it happened. And then what I'm about to launch next is just like, okay, I need to clear this up.
Okay, so someone said, why did she tell all those lies on the Taylor girls and had the house turn on them? Was it because she felt threatened that they were too smart for her to manipulate?
Okay, first of all, let's say I'm the queen of manipulation. They couldn't have been that smart because they was with us in every house. So no, it wasn't that, I want to control the Taylor girls. It wasn't that at all. First of all, in the interview I did with Zoe, it was so long, we talked so long, some stuff, he didn't
make it.
Yeah. And the thing with the Taylor girls or whatever is that it's a picture that Ty, Deja, one of them dropped, talking about the OGs of YouTube. They weren't. I got that same picture, and it has everybody in it. The picture that they circulated is the one that they took some people out. Point being is that they are trying to claim, credit for a throne that wasn't theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, y'all, that house in Atlanta, y'all wasn't invited. Like, y'all showed up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because Chris invited them, and it kind of went from there. Nobody was lying on the Taylor girls. After I said what I said, Deja and them haven't said anything else.
Okay. So that's that on that. Because there was mention of, okay, so if I'm remembering correctly, not even going off of the questions, there was a situation between somebody disclosing Queen's business or something, and that talking to one of the Taylor girls. Yeah,
Deja, but I don't know if Zoe kept that in or not. Deja was not, in my opinion, Deja wasn't gossiping like, yeah, Queen, da. I feel like Deja felt like she could trust me because she was in a car with me and Jazz, Perfect Laughs. And so she was just venting. We were coming back from my hotel room, and she was just venting about what was going on and how she felt about stuff that Queen had told her. So that's how that conversation went. Now, if Deja was talking to other people, I don't know. So when we got back to the house or whatever, I think a day or two later, something had happened with them, with the group in the house. I think it was Armand, it was Trey in that situation with them. So when that happened, that's when everybody started telling how they felt about the Taylor girls. And so that situation came up, and Jazz made mention like, yeah, they do be talking or something. I really don't know because I don't want to lie on the girl, but she said something to the extent of like, yeah, she was talking in the car about you, bro, talking about Chris. And then she was like, wasn't she, Janay? And I was like, yeah, and then I kind of finished the story or whatever. And so that's when I told them what was said. And I told Chris, I said, don't say nothing. But I didn't think Chris would go back and say something to Deja, but he went back and said something because he felt some kind of way. Because, you stand at my house, I'm bringing, let me stay on Chris for a second. He does not get the credit that he deserves at all. A lot of these channels would not be winning if it wasn't for Chris. Joel and Lauren, Armand and Trey, the Taylor girls, Chris personally walked them in. Perfect Laughs, like Damien didn't even want to work with her. Like, she followed us around in LA, and I was like, okay, well, Damien, like, let's talk. He was like, no, but I linked up with her and brought her in. That's what's so funny about this. A lot of these kids was misfits. A lot of the people that act like they all friends, they wasn't even messing with each other.
Well, you can tell they don't mess with each other now.
And I ain't nowhere around.
Yeah, you can tell that they don't mess with each other now.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
No, just be venting. But no, that whole situation, I just feel like, Chris don't get a lot of accolades. Like, a lot of people, would not be winning if it wasn't, for him. Even that Chris and Queen brand, like, Queen is talented in what she does, but that wouldn't have been able to be as quickly done if that platform wasn't as big. When she gets interviewed all the time, they refer back to her YouTube.
Okay. Okay, so someone said,
what are you doing? 6:30. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Someone wanted to know, they said, what mistake did she make because it always is everyone else's fault besides hers? Is she going to take any responsibility for the rumors?
So I've seen that a lot. One of the things is that it just because two people are fighting doesn't mean that both parties are guilty. Like, if you punch me in my face and then I jump on top of you and now I'm beating your tail, that don't mean that I had a wrong in the situation. It just means that I decided to fight back. My thing is, in this situation, as far as doing something wrong to these kids, or I hate saying that word because
they're not kids.
Yeah, at all. But me doing something to them, I really, if it's something that I've done or whatever, I would definitely own it. But I ain't did nothing to these kids. I ain't did nothing to these kids to help them but change their lives. And so that's the part I don't understand, how all of a sudden I'm just, this bad person. Yeah, because I'm like, can y'all please say what I did? It's that, like, Nique and King, well, she could have locked us at our channel. Negro.
Right, but
like,
you
know
didn't.
What I'm saying?
So,
yeah.
So what do you think okay, so someone else says, why is everyone lying on her name? So why do you think that everybody is coming together to make these tall tales about you and defame your character if, like, you didn't do nothing? Like, I didn't do nothing. Like, why is everybody, choosing to defame your character?
One of the most important things you have to understand is this is where I was wrong at. I underestimated these kids. That's where I was wrong at. Because at the end of the day, it's business. And some people have that notion to be cutthroat in business, and some people don't. And in this space of what I'm in, you had two people that wanted to do what I was doing. And even if you look at the dad's comment when he was like, I couldn't have that much power and F it up. It's like, power? What is he talking about? Everybody wanted to be in the position I was in to work with these talents. Mm-hmm. And so you got the Taylor girls who, even in the text message that I showed with Zoe, they wanted to buy into the company. You got Damien, who I was supposed to go ahead and partner with the company. So now you got these two pissed off people watching me win with these groups that they feel like they should have been a part of. So now you got the influence and the bag behind it. And now you get the ear of one or two of these teams or whatever. You tell them this, and then it just circulates. And like, yeah, you shouldn't even be paying her that because I don't pay her that, and da-da-da-da. It's like, the telephone game. One thing gets said, and it just keep going. And it was to discredit me because of the fact if you discredit me and you knock me out the space, the throne is up for the taking.
They could just come and do the damn thing.
Yeah, you've seen it happen now. You look at Damian Roster, it's my team. Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what his full roster is, but I seen it was Damien, and then he has Nique and King, from my understanding, under them.
Carmen and Corey, and who else went over there? Those are the two.
But if they already got your formula, why are they going under somebody else again?
I don't know what them geniuses was thinking going over that way. Oh yes, I do, because of the fact when you have that type of status, they feel like they're able to take them to the next level. But ain't nobody moved more than 200, 300,000 in 9 months. But we did that in 3 months. We went to $1 million.
Child. So someone wanted to know, they said, would she ever try to partner with the Zeus Network app, meaning the same formula she does with the clout houses? Would she do it on the Zeus platform instead of YouTube?
The Zeus platform is absolutely genius, and I don't think, if I was the owner of Zeus Network, I don't know if I would reach out to somebody like me. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact we're in the same lane, just driving at different speeds. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if he had the same, I don't know, I'm just so tainted now.
Are you gonna do another clout house?
Yeah, I'm gonna do something different. I'm not gonna do the whole clout house, couple house, or whatever. That's over with, done with. What I want to do now, what I will be doing now, is I'm gonna go ahead and do a house that's gonna tap into all the niches. A lot of people don't realize a lot of these groups are winning because of the fact they have a defined audience. When you are dealing with relationships, that's the reason why your channel is going, because YouTube recommends you to that audience. So I want to show other people, like, that might have kids, or that might want to do beauty, that might want to do cooking. You can still win with the same formula in a different space. So my next project, in the next 3-4 days, I should be dropping the commercial and everything. But what I am going to do is drop the 4 houses that I did do, because we have complete footage of each house that we did, and so I'm going to drop all seasons of those.
And who are part of those that you're going to drop?
The first group was Flight, DNB, Chris and Queen, Airy, some other people that's not doing YouTube no more. That's the first house. The second house that we did is going to be, that's where the Taylor girls made an appearance in the last part of the house, but they were really in the second one. That's when Armand and Trey came in. That's when Jazz came in, and Chris and Queen, and DNB wasn't in. The third house was Armand and Trey. It was Chris and Queen. It was Play and Lala. It was Jazz, and I think that, and Airy, and Emma Vaughn and them.
Okay, so all of those you already shot when you guys were on good terms, and then you're going to release it.
Yeah.
How do you feel like they would feel? Like, man, we don't even F with her.
There's gonna be some pissed off folks, but who cares? They already had. We might as well all just go ahead and get this out of our system, because everything that came out. My thing is that y'all say I'm a scammer and I'm greedy and all this other stuff. Well, say it now, because I need to get my money back from all that footage that I did.
Yeah. Someone said, I'm gonna just wrap up and ask you a few more questions, and then that'll be that. I feel like we
Nique, I got another interview sitting, and I got another one I gotta do, and they like gotta go. So can we do this last one, babe?
Okay. Let me see. Someone wanted to know about the social experiment. They said, does she realize the social experiment did more harm than good, and that lying on a pregnancy was a horrible idea?
One of the things with the social experiment is that it was just that it was a social experiment. So what I don't understand is how is it that it was. Are you still there, Nique?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. With the social experiment, it was just that it was a social experiment. It didn't work. Okay, we move on. Lying on a pregnancy. Is y'all kidding me? Everybody do pregnancy videos talking about they pregnant. What the heck? And the whole thing with that wasn't to show like, oh, well, yeah, I'm pregnant, this, that, and that. Every relationship that has went through a breakup that I've seen in this space, everybody mysteriously is pregnant. Everybody mysteriously, you know what I'm saying? Because of the fact they feel like that's something that's going to keep a relationship. So the whole plan with that was not only to revive their channels, but also, too, was to see how people would respond to it. That's all it was. And guess what? We did a good job, because people still talking about it.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, is there something that you want them to know going forward? Because I feel like it did damage your reputation in a little bit.
You talking about the social experiment part?
No, just overall. I'm just talking about overall your experiences with DMB, your experience with Nique and King. Is there something that you want to say, just in summary, to speak to the audience as to your character, and just let people know what it is?
Well, one of the most important thing is just stick around for the Janay experience, because where I failed at, I didn't allow people to get to know me. Me hide behind the camera and everything wasn't smart, because maybe if I had made myself more available and allowed people to see who I am and see me really interacting with these adults, maybe things would have been a little bit better. So my thing is that most importantly, stick around to see what I'm going to do next. And then the other thing, look at the evidence.
Okay.
Look at the evidence. Forget what's being said, because I don't see nobody starving. I don't see nobody in the same position they was in when they started with me that's worse off.
Right.
Well, and everybody, if you go back, look at how they was when they started, nobody was winning like that except for DMB.
Right. Okay, so that's that on that.
Thank
you so much for talking to me and taking the time out to speak to me. You do get a bad rep, and I've definitely defended you a couple times on my channel, because
I appreciate it.
I feel like it was unfair, but hey, it's better to hear out of your mouth. You was living it, you were there in those situations, and hey, you lived it, you can speak on it better than I can.
I appreciate you so much, and keep doing what you do, and go ahead and get it going with the baby.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta do more content with her, but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right,
bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's all for this video. I want to know what you guys think about it. What do you guys think about some of the things that Janay had to say? Let's talk about it down below. Would you be managed by Janay? After hearing her side of the story, after hearing how she explained it, and after seeing visually how she brought these channels from one place to the next, would you, as an upcoming YouTuber, work with her? I want to hear from you down below. If you're not subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button right now. Liking this video helps me out a lot. Sharing this video helps me even more. And commenting also helps your girl out. So, yeah, do that. Do all of those things right now. Right now. Not now, but right now. Okay? All right, guys. Peace.